Wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to just do a quick intro here because I didn't say this before, but the podcast is probably just going to be absolutely raw today. The From Another Planet podcast. And I got the legendary good friend of mine, and we haven't chatted. Well, we chatted recently, but something happened there. Mr. Michael Musco, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm pretty good, dude. How about yourself?
I reckon I'm just about the same as you with what we're saying just before we hit start record.
Well, this is like the tribute to that podcast, because the one we did that didn't get saved was probably the best one we've ever done.
I would say it would be top 5.
Yeah, at least.
at least top 5. I thought the best one ever done, and then I was thinking about it afterwards. I was like, oh, but we did that podcast. And then there was, like there's all these epic ones. But I think that last one we did was really, really good. And the problem, of course, with recording on Skype is you have to hit. This is always technical problems for me, like so bad. But you have to hit stop before you say goodbye. So that's one thing we need to do today. But yeah, it was. I mean, you had been. I mean, I can't believe we're in the new financial year already, but you'd been through a lot. I mean, there's probably a little bit there about your dad and things like that was really important at the time that we can talk about, and and then your brutal slaughter of animals.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's going next level.
I heard the other day, so. I don't even know where to start, bro. Let's just kick off with how are you? What are you up? What's going on now? What's happening?
Just kind of unplugging from like the matrix as much as possible, and focusing. I got my handyman business is doing really good, and so I don't really have a lot of dealings with banks and like policies and governmental shit, and culture, because it's just me, my wife and family do it, but then I also have a guy that works for me, which helps me do jobs, and and so I'm not really around like the COVID shit and really any of that kind of stuff, for the most part, except if like I'm at like a customer's house and they got like the news on just on all day, and just then it still kind of just creeps in, but it's not as invasive, I guess, as it was, but like I also have gotten a lot more picky on what I'm like putting my attention on, and like what I'm just like feeding my subconscious, and so it's like that. But then I got, now, let's see, I had 10 meat birds, chickens, and then we got 4 more chickens that are egg laying chickens on top of we had 9 chickens. The one that was just wild has been very sporadic. Like, I haven't seen her in probably 3 days. Yeah. But she could be out there. It's just like I think was dropping her eggs off here at least. But then I had this really weird experience with this like Middle Eastern guy. Yeah. He just pulled up to the side of my house and just starts honking. And it's like, who is this person? And like, so I go out there and he's like, you sell me chicken. I'm like,
oh no.
I'm like what? He's like, I buy chicken from you. Sell me chicken.
Right.
It's like, dude, I have eggs, but I'm not selling you chicken. It's like, if you want to buy like an already butchered one, I have one in the freezer.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, live chicken.
Jeez.
And it's like, what the fuck, and like, this went on and on, and it was just like, he ends up telling me like his his English was shit. There was a real communication problem, and like, I ended up just selling him a chicken. It was one of the ones that was like,
you sold him one in there. Oh my god.
Well, it's like the one that constantly was the first one to jump out. It was like the instigator of like, because I live in town, like I'm surrounded by like properties around me. I think my yard is a half acre.
Okay.
But like, I think a normal city lot, or maybe it's a quarter acre, because maybe it's an eighth of an acre is a city lot, and I have 2 lots. Right. But like, but like there's a street and then a neighbor, and then there's an empty area, a street, and then another neighbor. So I'm like kind of isolated, but then there's like a trailer park all around my property. But like a lot of my neighbors seem to like the chickens. The one like has like, I don't know, kind of helped with like watching when my stepdaughter got married. She like washed the chickens, and like we also got three turkeys.
Right.
So she ended up like, and we give them some eggs for like a lot of times I just give them for free. But like so trying to keep the peace with the neighbors with it. It's like I definitely like I have some neighbors that are like, I guess Mexican. I don't know. They don't speak English. They speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So I would assume Mexican. But they've, I think, have been the ones that have been living there. I've lived here I think 7 or 8 years, and there's always been like a family of like Mexican people over there that they never say nothing to anybody. It's
Yeah.
like every Thursday night, you hear like this like Mexican music,
Right.
like they party or whatever, but they always keep to themselves. So I've always like never had a problem with them. But like the birds were getting out and getting into their trash, and like chickens when they eat, they just like they peck at the ground and then they like take their feet and like spread it behind them, like kick it out.
Yeah.
And so they were getting in his garbage and we're just kicking the shit out, just making a big mess. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just an opportunity to get rid of that one, because without him starting it,
Yeah.
like, the rest of them just would stay in there because I already clipped their wings too. So I don't know why they can still get out. It's like, but yeah, so I sold that guy for like $10. Like,
Yeah.
here's this chicken, and
Fucking hell. Oh
yeah,
my God.
and I was already kind of in a weird space with it because I didn't really feel sad about it. I had this chicken for like a
So
year,
was I.
and like this was shortly like following butchering 10 chickens, which was intense. And like, so I was already kind of in a weird space because I butchered one and I ate it on the grill that same day. It's just
Far
like,
out. I just don't know how you do that.
I mean, it was pretty intense. I mean, the whole thing, I had a buck knife, there was like a whole process to it. I wanted to get this really good, good knife, because I found out, that I can pay less taxes by like, having a farm. So like
Right.
this not like this knife is like a tax write-off, and I'm learning a lot about doing like write-offs so I can like avoid paying tax,
Yeah.
on fucking
Yeah.
bullshit, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, oh, I can write this off because I have chickens, and yeah, okay. So I bought like a $50, I was thinking $50 to $75. I was like willing to spend on a knife just because I wanted like the perfect one that is just going to be like
Yeah.
super sharp, just yeah,
Yeah.
instant lights out. I didn't want
Yeah.
any drama,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so it was like a whole ordeal, and it was like, I don't know, it was just like a really intense experience because like yeah, I don't know how to put it into words other than like I didn't really get that attached to those birds
Yeah.
because they look like a caricature fucking chicken, white chicken, redhead. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
It's
and
not like a
like
cat or a dog, right? Which is completely different, where there's like, you have that interaction. Although last time you spoke to me, you said that first story, bro, fuck, man, I can still eat chicken fine, but that still haunts me. That you getting the chicken in the car or whatever, or in the back and whatever it was in the trailer, or whatever, fuck, didn't fit in the properly, and oh my God.
yeah, that was a turkey. He
That was
got
a turkey,
huge.
right?
Yeah, he got huge, and like these turkeys are getting big now too, which I've grown to really like turkey consciousness, because it's like really like curious, kind of like mellow. It makes you like when you eat turkey for Thanksgiving, how you get like tired and like lethargic.
Yeah,
It seems like you just take on that kind of vibration of that like chick or
right.
that turkey, because that's kind of just how they are. It's just like lethargic, kind of just goofy, playful, but at the same time they would like peck you in the eye and not care. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right. I gotcha. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? And they say that food, like a lot of people, there's a girl, Amy Lee, at my work. She's vegan, and she talks a lot about food having energy and the energy in food.
Hmm.
And because a lot of us, like especially me in my past, has just been mindless in just eating whatever, just crap. eating good food as well, but eating just, whatever. And, I really think about it now, and I would imagine that some of that, I mean, you are what you eat sometimes, right? So, I eat lots of chicken. I'll eat lots of cow, lots of beef. So, I don't know. I mean, that were put here right for us. That's what it says, right? It's here for us to eat, to consume.
Well, I mean, like the whole thing, you can kind of like get some sort of enlightenment from, because it's like, yeah, it just makes you just think about what we're doing. Is this wrong? And like all these kind of like moral and ethical things, especially when it's just like, when like the difference between those birds and like egg laying chickens is like the size. So it's like meat birds grow to like 6-7 pounds in 8 weeks, which is
Uh-huh.
2 months, and boom, you got a freaking thing. All they do is eat, and like their consciousness is different. And each breed that we have has a different type of consciousness to it. Some is more primitive, and more fearful. It seems like, and there's like
Yeah.
this weird hierarchy when it comes to the chickens, where it's like we have like a bed that's leaned against the side of their chicken coop, and it's got rungs in it. So they like, there's like almost like a ladder, and so the majority of them try to get the top rung of the ladder, or the their perch or whatever. And then there's a couple that don't get up there, and they get pissed and shit on all night. you know
Right.
and like I've seen like very like rapey kind of behavior, and they're all females. It's just like they'll like mount each other and like
Right.
push their head down really hard and like rip the back feathers out of their neck. And
Yeah.
like,
It's not normal, is it? I mean, what we like, I mean, obviously, like it's kind of like you say, it's a different kind of consciousness. And I think, I believe like trees and plants I think they have conscious of a degree as well. It may not be anywhere near that of a chicken or a human or anything like that, but yeah, it's different. It totally is different. And like you say, it's part of. I mean, who fucking knows? At this point, Mars, I'm at the point where there's so many things going on. Like, it is a very real possibility that we were put here, whether it be like that shift thing that happened, which I believe happened, but also like even before that, that we were put here. Like, I don't think this is where we're from. For some reason, like I'm really starting to think that to be true, and I think so. We've come to a place where it is just like a wild planet, or it was, um, and now it's kind of domesticated and civilized and whatever to a degree. But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. I cannot, I've grappled with what you did with the turkey and all that sort of stuff, because it's like, I guess ultimately, if end times came, or if something seriously bad happened, which is probably on the precipice of happening at any point, then it's a handy skill to have. There's that. But also in grappling with that, I'm very, very, very conscious and awake and aware that I purchased the same chicken from Woolworths, the grocery. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
what's the difference between me running a credit card through the checkout, or like a tap and go card or whatever at the checkout, and taking home something that's wrapped in plastic, that's probably been pumped with hormones and had a shit life, versus you doing it in your backyard and doing it properly. So, but it's the transaction itself is bad, right? But the actual activity of you doing it, that's something that, it may be done in a better way than it's been done in the manufacturing plant. So yeah, it's an interesting circle of kind of thinking about things.
Well, it makes you think too about like, if you were in the chicken's position, like
Mm.
would you want to be as fast as possible? Because it's like being with like all the birds and just out in nature a lot during the day. It's like you see, I mean, there was like two baby blue jays that drowned in the chicken pool water, which is like a little kiddie pool, and it was only like maybe an inch of water in there. I was just like Saturday, Sunday, I go out just to hang out with the birds and do yard work and shit, and like I see this blue jay just flying around, just like squawking and like being kind of aggressive. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? And like, we got a mulberry tree, which is in
Yeah,
the
no.
neighbor's yard, which is like, it has been dropping berries for like a week or two. And like, yeah, so there's like lots of shit for birds to eat and squirrels to eat. I let the chickens go over there and just pig out because all these mulberries on the ground. And like, yeah, I see like a baby blue jay, like a fledgling, I think it's called, just on the ground. I know, like, not to touch it or fuck with it, because, it's part of their process or whatever. But then I see two other things in the pool, and it's like, I thought they were like big leaves at first.
Yeah.
And so I ended up calling my wife out to see the baby bird in the yard. Well, as she's out there, we realize it's two dead ones. Like its brother and
Right.
sister like didn't make it, and it's just like the mom and I would assume the dad bird were just flying around, freaking out and shit. And it's just like, Jesus, what a fucking day for these birds. you,
Yeah.
know, you know what I mean?
It's crazy, isn't it? And like it's I don't understand, Mars. Like I don't know. It sounds potentially a little bit like we're maybe with some of these things very similar, because right at the start you said straight off the bat you're like, detaching yourself off of platforms and social media and that. I mean, I'm off YouTube, I'm off Twitter. I've been off Twitter and Facebook and YouTube for ages. I'm off. Yeah, I've managed to get
How do you think that like has affected your consciousness being off of that?
strangely enough, I've actually strangely enough over this morning, yesterday, and the day before, um, like I still use YouTube. So, okay, I'll go back a step. So when you go to YouTube and you don't have an account at all, it means you can't save your favorite videos unless you copy the links into like a notepad or something.
Oh yeah.
So you're grappling with that. You're also grappling with the fact that what they do is they make you have 3 adverts at the start on pretty much every video, so you can't get through that. And that happens every time, pretty much every time, close enough to every time. But yeah, what I was going to say is that over the last 3 days, I've started jumping into YouTube Shorts, and what it's made me realize is that it's been a little while, because I was in this mode, and you see this stunning blonde chick. There's some really dumb like dick joke that they're saying or something, whatever it is, and you're sitting there looking at their boobs. I'm sorry, I have to say it. Like, I don't care. I'll just say it because that's what I was doing. I was like, oh wow, like, oh, look at those. And then you go to the next one, and whatever, some dumb like joke about whatever. And then you're going on, and for whatever reason it picks up that I watch Formula One, so I get a few Formula One clips and whatever. And then I was sitting there and I'm like, this is just reminding me of, like, I was in that zone of, well, it's not a zone, I shouldn't say that. I was in that brainwash state again, where I was just scrolling up, and I was like, oh my God, it's got me captured again, this thing of like, of just like racing through and, watching these different things. And I was like, it's been so long since I've had that. So what I have noticed, the biggest thing about me being detached, is that I've completely detached away from family and friends. I heard one. I mean, I'm just shooting off the hip of. There's 1,000 things I could talk about these things, but one of the videos I saw recently, someone was just talking about how they've noticed that people have just gone from their lives. They've just gone. Like, it's almost like these people have just completely gone. Like, where did they go? And for me, to a very large degree, especially like, with YouTube and that, I knew that was an inevitability. But going back before that, without being on social media, it's like people are just gone. It's like they're stuck in some sort of like, screen, and I'm living normal life. It's bizarre. It really is
Yeah.
bizarre. And the interactions just on top of that, and the interactions with people at my work, which, again, we'd be here all day if I started talking about my work. But I've had enough experiences recently to know that there's really big forces at play, and all I can do is just be the best I can, just try and get the most I can out of life. And I think that's probably why people like us are here, is just to try and extract the juice out of life and be an example and do the best we can, because I'm up against, I would say, demonic forces, because I work for the government in terms of being in a commission, building commission, and I mean, I'm not even supposed to say that, but I'm at the point where I just don't care. And like the people I'm up against, man, are demons. Like, they're demonic, and I don't think they know it. And I think demons and all that sort of stuff have moved through you. They've moved through me. They've moved through people around us. And it's just like getting at that level of being so, you know, doing good, doing the right thing, enjoying life, that you kind of extract, you know, to force those demons out, right? So the social media side is great, because I feel there's some sort of like energy that's just fucked up that I'm really glad that I'm not part of. The only thing I have still left is SoundCloud, which I come and go from. Usually the times that I've been drinking, I go there. So it's a fairly good sign that it's something that I shouldn't probably use anymore. And I don't really go there that much to listen to music anymore. It's just that letting go of like my subscribe account, which is the only thing that's kept keeping me there, which is like ironic, like given that I'm picking everything else up. But
Right.
you know what I mean? It's like, and it's like, you know, I don't want to sell it. Like it's you know, I don't want to give it. If I did anything, it was just like I want to do good with it, which is kind of why I've let it go. I'm sick of paying $16 a month for to have it as completely open. And you know, they get you everywhere. They get you everywhere with money. They keep you suck, you know, they're sucking you dry everywhere with money. So yeah, I'm kind of at a really weird point where I understand what you're talking about, detaching. I understand what you're talking about when you said where you're putting your attention. Some of the things that, like, this may be where a little different, like that Guardians of the Looking Glass stuff that's come up, and that them reactivating CERN. Apparently CERN, of course, the number had to be 27 kilometers. It had to add up to a 9, right? But
Right.
for me anyway. But so it's 27 kilometers in diameter, and apparently the original Looking Glass, which you know, this is all allegedly, is allows you to look into time backwards and forwards and whatever. And it's a relatively small sort of thing. And apparently, like, the way it works with the energy surrounding it and the electromagnetic forces and whatever happens with it, it works on the same principle as CERN. So what they're saying is, underground in the middle of CERN, it, like, basically they've got an enormous area which is looking into time, like, is basically a time traveling thing. And some of the things that have come up over the last 6 months with this thing, like the Guardians of the Looking Glass channel, you know, they've said things are going to happen, and they've happened. Videos have been taken down. It's full on. It really is full on. So they've just recent video that they've said is like, you know, I was dumb enough to get honeypotted. They asked for emails. They're like, get in touch with us. So yeah, of course, fucking, I was like, yeah, fuck you, Joe Biden. Fuck you, like, you know, Australian federal government. Fuck you, like, BlackRock. Fuck you, everybody. Fuck you, Bilderberg Group, World Economic Forum. Fuck you, Bill Gates. Fuck you, Fauci. Fuck you, everybody. Everybody that wears a mask. Fuck you. I sent my email address. So got totally honeypotted. But I mean, but they've basically said sometime in July that they're going to be releasing this information, and it's going to be sent out to everyone. So it'll be interesting to see what arrives. They did say on there, save it to your hard drives, and I'm like, that's the very last thing I'm going to be doing. I'm not saving that shit anywhere.
I'm gonna open that up, the library.
That's what I was about to say, the state library, which is about 5 k's away. So not even that. So yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And there's because of when you look at Joe Biden, who, you know, falls off of his bike or goes to clap and the hands don't meet, you know, like, just kind of totally like, you know, probably words I shouldn't use, but like, just gone. And you see him running America, and then you see how people react to Russia when most likely what we're being told is completely bullshit. isn't it a contrast, man? Like Joe Biden falling off of his bike and eating an ice cream, sniffing kids, versus like the Russian president who's like wearing no top, carrying a shotgun, riding a horse. Like, it's
Yeah,
like, what the fuck is this world, man?
little different culture.
Like, and then you got Rocket Man over in North Korea, like Trump calling Rocket Man and shit. Like, it's just so, like, the whole thing is just such a farce. And that's what I grapple with. Like, I think I've got to a point now where I'm like, I can see that this is just some like massive shit show. I mean, the people I talk to are talking about not genderizing their kids and stuff, man.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, I'm sitting there.
What does that mean? That means
what that means is like they're not going to say to them, "Oh, you're a little girl. Like, you can be whoever you want to be." And I'm just sitting there looking at them like, I just can't deal with this. Like, I can't deal with that. Like, it's wrong. And so in other words, if they want to be a boy and they're a girl, like, they can do that. And that to me is just like there's like a sickness that's there. And if people do change, then I don't have a problem if people do. That's not the thing. It's just like little minds like that are so easily manipulated. And
well, I always get the biggest. It's like, how do you think you know what it's like to be a man? Yeah, I mean, it's like, why do you think that's so great? It's like, I don't know. The whole thing is like just a psyop to me, and it's just like obviously just getting more and more fucking intense and just getting so far from just anything that makes sense that it's just I don't even give it like the time of day. It's just like most of the people like in my area at least, like I said, I go to people's houses and do jobs like handyman jobs and stuff. Like I put in like 7 doors at this lady's house the other day, painted them, did a front door today, just put it in, but like I don't really get a lot of like deep conversations,
Yeah.
And like, yeah, so it's like most of my day is like so far removed from that stuff that when I hear it, it's like so jarring. Like,
Yeah.
what? It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Well, I heard it the other day from someone at my work who I'm friends with. I mean, she has like her partner is like a chick and whatever. No problem. Again, I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. Whatever. But when she was talking about the kids and that, I'm like, like I just can't deal with that. And just she must have picked up on it because I must have just hung my head and spouted or something. No. But like I was like, oh. But that's them. But that's not just. And you know what? Like, I don't even look. Just do what you want to. You do you kind of thing. But
Yeah, it's like, why are you bringing it to me? Like, why do you need me to validate it?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
why bring that up? But the thing about it is, all these people and all this generation, these generations below, that they're told to. You need to voice this. Like, you need to get people. It's like they're recruiting kind of thing. So
It's gotten really out of hand. That.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that that's gonna kind of shake loose and like snap back soon. Because it's gotten so ridiculous that it can't continue to get more ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the next step? You're gonna pretend to be a panda bear?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised. Have you found? Actually, here's a question I got for you because I've not asked again because I don't not like around the place much, but this question first of all is like 2015, 2016, 2017, right? As I'm making my cup of coffee. Through that era, the Mandela effect and all that sort of stuff, and everyone was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Do you find that it's like almost everyone now has just and not in terms of relationships and stuff, but like there's not the same amount of videos, and it's not being talked about, and it's almost like this massive thing happened, and almost like everyone's not pretending that it didn't happen, but it's almost like it's not even talked about.
Yeah, it's weird.
Do you find that?
Yeah, it's weird how it's like you can almost like forget that even happened on some level. You know,
I
it's like
know.
it's like you can get so sucked back into it, like just like the Matrix world, that it's like that whole thing can just be almost like, I wouldn't say like a part of your mind is trying to make you forget that, you know, like, but
Yeah.
it's easy enough to be like, oh fuck, I mean, I can't. That whole period of time is just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird to me. The other question I had for you is there anything that's kind of come into your reality? Not, well, I mean, it can be from the screen, but not necessarily from your screen. Something that you've seen that's just kind of out of the ordinary, because other than these people that are just fucking brainwashed morons, a lot of the things that I was seeing, like, you know, when I was in Adelaide, I did get to show my dad the ring around the sun halo, and
Mm.
he saw it and just like, and it's like he didn't see it, and I had to take a photo of it, and he said to me, because it was on his birthday in February, 13th February, and I said, Dad, look at this. This is the photo of it. He goes, oh wow, why do you think that's like that? And I was just like, well, it's your birthday, like it's a good sign. And he said, can you send it to me? And I did. So I've still got the photo.
Mm.
But I'm not seeing that kind of stuff. And it was just like constantly in my face for so long. So yeah, I'm just kind of wondering what, is for other people, has things kind of slowed down, or do you still see kind of really weird shit? Like,
Oh no, it's off the charts. You know, it's like
right.
it's like to the point where it's just like having a thought and then having like almost an instantaneous manifestation.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
it's like it's super surreal and it's dreamlike in a lot of ways. You know, I've
Yeah.
been
That
dealing
side of
with
it, I agree. Yeah.
yeah, I've been dealing, you know, my dog has been having like issues where she was like recover like she gotten like really bad there for a while. But the thing, um, when I let her out, like I noticed she was like wandering around, and you know, and so I started making like an interchange and just like thought, and then like the next day she wouldn't wander around, and like I've been like playing around with that kind of stuff for a while, and now watching this progression, you know, like where she was like I had to carry her to go to the bathroom, like she couldn't walk or anything. You know, she's like 19, you know, and
Yeah.
so um, yeah, and then she's like walking again, and you know,
That's good.
eating, drinking, all this kind of stuff. But like she's got like this ear infection, you know, and so or you know I don't know what it is, you know, but like I've just been cleaning her ears and like kind of just nursing her back to health and everything, and like I had this dream, you know, where like I like dreamed like about the dog, you know, but she was like really shit condition, right?
Right.
Like it was like, oh my gosh, what is going on with you? And like you know, and I woke up and I was like disturbed when I woke up, you know. But then at the same time, I got this like kind of like that inner kind of inspiration, I guess is one way to say it. You know, it's
Yeah.
just like you know, like there's no difference between what's going on now and the dream I just had.
Yeah.
It's just you know, don't take it as like so seriously. You
Yeah.
know, and I've noticed like it happens really really fast. Where it's just like I have a thought thinking about my dog, and next thing you know, she starts like howling. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you
Almost
know, and
like,
that
did you hear the dog, and then your brain functioned, and then it happened, or did you actually think about the dog first and then it happened?
or like or did she think about me? You know, and it's like fired that way. You know, too. You know, what I mean, it's just
Right.
it's hard. It's so fast. It's hard to pinpoint it. You know what I mean?
I got my fingers pinching the top of my nose and trying not to. I don't know. I okay. So there's two parts again. Always two parts with the Gemini, but like one side of it is I have these weird dreams, like where I'll be dreaming about DJing days and stuff, which is really weird. Which I really do miss it, but not enough that my subconscious is missing it more than the reality that I'm in. Anyway, so I'm dreaming about these people. I've dreamt about ex-girlfriends again. I've dreamt quite a few things. A couple of ones recently haven't been good dreams, but most part they're like, it's just like an adventure. Like my dreams are adventures of just things going on, and like I've dreamt places across the years, the same place, and I'm back at that same place, and it's like there's this whole other world in dream world that I know about, like another place. So
Yeah.
totally on board with you about that. Get ready for this one though. I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm pretty sure I told you last time, but if I didn't, this will spin you out. So I'm sitting with my fingers at the top of my nose, like, oh my god. I had a dream, and I was back on the Brighton jetty where I used to live and go to school, South Australia, and there was this squid on the jetty, which is quite common to catch squid. And this, for whatever reason, like it was almost like I was no longer on the jetty, but there was still this squid, and I was like, shit, I've got to get out of the way because it's going to squirt its squid ink at me, right? So I'm like, and then as that happens, it's like, the iPhone rings at 6 a.m. I like get up, I get a coffee, I go to the toilet, jump in the shower, jump out, get dressed, get breakfast, grab my pass, jump on the go walk outside to go down to jump on the bus. And I'm still kind of been up for 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and I'm on my way to work kind of thing. And I get to the lift at the top here on the 11th floor, and there's this guy walking from the other way. And he's like, good morning. And I'm like, yeah, good morning. Guy I've talked to many times, but it was like 6:45 in the morning, whatever. And we get in. I said, oh, shit, it's like a rave, because like the light in the lifts was flashing. And we laugh, and I look down. I'm like, oh, my God. And we look down, and there's these little dots of like water, which could have been from dogs, because people walk their dogs. Most likely it was off of the end of an umbrella, like dripping off the end of an umbrella, and there's quite a few drops around the place. And I'd press P to go down to the promenade. We get in, and he goes, oh, it looks at me and goes, oh, you know what it looks like? And I was like, what? And he goes, it looks like squid ink. And I'm like, I'm standing, and of course I didn't tell him, because like I'm still like processing it. And I'm like, I just dreamt about, and I'm like, oh my God, like, it's kind of a little bit like I've definitely gone forwards in time, like the next day in dreams before, and this was kind of the same day, kind of just like the next hour. So I've got a bit of that going, but that's all internal. Like I'm not seeing the crazy, other than just the fucked up reality we live in. But I don't know if you heard the episode of From Another Planet I did with like Jay Chris.
I listened to. Did you just do one of those, or did you do multiple ones?
No. I think we did. I think we've done one.
I listened to one of them. I didn't know if you did more.
Yeah. Did you hear the bit about how there was like the bug on the screen, and he used the windscreen wiper, and it slid across the screen. Right, and like so that like the bug was moving across the screen with the windscreen wiper. It was like it was stuck.
Oh, nice.
and yeah, because he's seen it. He's like, oh, whatever, I know. And hey, this is like the chicken and the bug thing again. The turkey and the bug. Like, do you kill the bug or not? Anyway, so he's sitting there, and he's with Sarah or whatever. Sarah gets in the car, and he's like, oh my God. And she's like, what? And he goes, look at that. The bug that had been going backwards and forwards was on the inside of the window.
Oh, there you go. That's weird.
He's like, he lost his shit over it. Oh, totally understandable. But that kind of stuff, that kind of thing, it's not happening as much. But definitely the dreams are just there. Seem to be full on at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've been so kind of in like a nature vibe that like weird supernatural type of things are not, it's kind of just in a different wavelength, I think, because it's like when a lot of that stuff was happening for me, I was like noticing a lot of it was like thinking about something and then seeing something through like my phone, like a video or something, and someone would like literally be talking about like the same type of thing. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's just like, oh, okay, I just was thinking about that, and not even 5 minutes like later, I'm watching some video, and they're like, oh, it just came out of their mouth.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yep.
And so I was getting like a lot of that, but it's like,
Weird.
for me, it's kind of like I'm kind of like enjoying kind of what's not so much what's going on in the world. I think what's going on in the world is just like I think a lot of people are waking up to like what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? Um, at least my mom is, which is refreshing. She was like getting angry when she was like on the phone with me about like how they are trying to kill us all. And
Oh
she's
my God. Right.
and like she's got like I don't know how many goats, but I mean she's got like her own little farm set up. Like she's got uh probably 20 meat birds, a pond full of fish, greenhouse, bunch of apple trees and plums and all sorts of shit. And like yeah, so she's been getting more and more off grid too. And I just got a message from my brother who, refused to acknowledge any of like any changes or anything, even though like Febreze or whatever, he's like um he remembered it the same way, and like there was like a bunch of stuff like that. And then he was like give me shit like at the bar, like when he'd be there, and I'd start like saying how I was gonna do like bets with people on like effects, like they're gonna remember it the way I do, and like I'm gonna like
Oh, what?
like take their money.
Yeah.
And like and so he's like, no, don't do that. But like yeah, and he got real, sketchy when it like bring these things up. But he sent me a message on Monday. He said they are turning CERN back on tomorrow. Take pictures of well-known things and prepare to see what happens when people keep playing God.
Right.
Yeah, so which is funny because like CERN being turned back on has been like a repeating like it's been supposed to be turned on for
Yeah.
like weeks. It's like every time I hear it, it's like, oh, they're just getting ready to turn. It's like, motherfucker, it's been on for like months from last time I
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah. Like I've been feeling you out in this conversation a bit because probably the biggest one for me, like as I say, I'm not seeing the sun halo. The only thing is okay, there's one. I've been looking outside in the mornings and the moon hasn't been there forever. And
Yeah,
then
I haven't seen
yesterday,
that either.
yesterday during the day, halfway through the day, it was like a half moon tilted 45 degrees, which is just like, it's doing my head in. Like, I don't remember, was it like that or not like that? Um, and so that's kind of that, that's putting your attention to that thing. But the thing with me, listening to this Looking Glass, because it's former military people that had, intel on stuff that, basically humanity was just going to waken up and they're doing everything they can to stop it. And there's two timelines primarily, which I kind of think, like, at the very minimum, I've experienced both timelines. I know I have. I'm stuck on this one. I'm not sure if it's the good one or not. It doesn't appear to be the good one. However, we're still here. That sort of thing. Anyway, so I've been keen. I've been like not obsessed, but like because I don't get a notification for a new video. Like I go to Guardians of the Galaxy, the Looking Glass all the time. See, because they take the video goes up and then the video is down, stays up for a couple of days, then it comes down, and that's how they've done it. And for whatever reason, that's fine. I've done that. I know other people have done it. Whatever. But the thing is like I'm checking every day, and then I can't believe it's Friday now because I feel like it was yesterday, but I think it was like it might have been Wednesday when I sent it to you. Whatever the day that I emailed that to you, I'm
Right.
like, oh my God. Like they're talking about CERN reactivating or whatever, and whatever it was. Well, that might have been the video before, but no, was it that video? I think it was that video. It was like the latest video that they had. But the thing was, it had been up for 6 days, and it had like, I think it's got like, I had a look earlier today. It's like 20,000 views or whatever. So I only had a couple of thousand of views because I was like, okay, and then I'm like, but it's been up for 6 days.
Right.
I think it's impossible because I'm checking for it every day. I check that before I check anything else. I go for that because I'm like, I'm waiting. It's almost like, even because like if you listen to it, there's so much stuff in there that you go, this could just be, especially when I first heard it, I was like, this is just some hoax. But there's been so many things that they've been right on or bang on the money on. And I'm like, I just want to know what the end of, even if it's a fictional tale, even if it's like Star Wars, I want to know what happens in the end. Or
Right.
if they never, because the thing was, they disappeared for a month or two, and because there's other channels that are talking about it. There's a really good channel called Inspire, which you would really like, because the guy, not just because of what they're talking about on those episodes, but the other stuff that he talks about is all positive and like really good shit, like really, really good stuff. So he calls people Inspire Tribe and shit like that, but it's a bit cheesy, but it's really good to watch. Most of his content's really, really positive and good. So definitely check him out. I'll send you that at some point. But yeah, I mean, he was talking with this other dude who's a movie maker, and he's like, this is this real? Is it not real? And they're breaking down a fair perspective of what it could be and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, for me, I was just sitting there. I'm like, how does this happen? Like, how's it gotten to this point? And you and I have seen enough to know that there's something not right in Denmark at the moment, right? Something not right in the state of Denmark. Like, they're doing something. So yeah, I just guess it's kind of more like, I'm treating it more like they're very serious. They're saying things like the information that they will provide will end like the elites and all that sort of stuff. That if it's released and it can be spread quick enough, it'll end all the bad shit that's going on. Like, it'll be enough to expose everything. And I guess that's a big enough kind of carrot for me to want to know the next episode. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Did you hear the Georgia Guidestones got blown up?
I watched the thing about I don't know, 20 minutes before your email, and I'd seen it because this is another thing for me. The Georgia Guidestones. I mean, I could claim it's a Mandela effect, but I'd never heard of it. Up until like 2016, and it might have just been because I wasn't in as much space as I wasn't in like all you guys in America. Like, I wasn't around you guys enough to be exposed to it.
Even around here, at least, it's not like a very popular monument like that people know about.
Right.
It's the only reason I think I got introduced to it was from, like, I think Jesse Ventura. I think he had like a show or something, some conspiracy show, which talked about like the Georgia Guidestones. But other than that, I didn't know much about it. Other than now that's blown up.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it, though, from what the episode that I watched, whatever it was on YouTube that I saw, was that they were saying that the media worldwide have picked it up. So if they have picked it up, it's like, yeah, as soon as the media has anything to do with it, I'm so sus, because they're just so fucking fake. Like, Australia or America, wherever you look, it's just fucking, it's the crap that's just destroying us,
Oh, and it's just it's funny because, like, in like my area, you see a lot of like people that went against the COVID shit and everything else because it's like kind of like a conservative area and whatnot. But then it's like these same people, as soon as the news changed to another fucking topic, now all of a sudden the news is telling the truth on everything again. It's like they're full of shit for 2.5 years. Every fucking story was basically either wrong, inaccurate, upside down and backwards, whatever. But now they're telling you the truth on Ukraine and you believe it. It's like
I know.
And it's like, oh, now they're telling you the economy is this, and now you believe it. It's like, how can you go for 2 years and then you finally starting to see it, and then, oh, but now they're telling the truth. They stop doing it all of a sudden. It's like, just stop watching it,
Yeah, exactly. There's the Australian wildfires. I remember still back then, because probably the last massive Mandela effect, realistically for me, was the 9/11 Marriott building.
Oh yeah.
So it does my fucking head in still. But yeah, and that was the wildfires, and there was that, and then there was the bullshit COVID thing. And then from there we came out of that as the whole jabby jab thing, and then That was that era through there. There's a horrible era. There's the mask thing. There was just like people being fucking revolting around me, like people just, and the people that got the jab, it was almost like they're being controlled by whatever was in it. Like they were mentally being controlled, some like zombie kind of things. And then it went from that, and then we had like, the not Chris Rock. What's his name? Was it Chris Rock that got slapped by Will Smith?
Yeah, Chris Rock.
We had Ukraine, where all of a sudden the world was going to end, right? And all the bullshit and the theater of the guy being an actor being put in there, and it was just such like it was like totally rigged and all this sort of shit. And then it went from that to the the Chris Rock slap to the Johnny Depp trial. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And all of a sudden, COVID has gone well and truly gone. And no one's even thinking about it. And then, of course, they spring monkeypox on the fucking world, which is just bullshit. And, of course, we had a case in Melbourne. I was just like, get the fuck out. Like, like just come on, man. Like, I can't take this shit. And what's worse is, like, I hear about it at work. The only place I would see a TV on is in the kitchen at my work. Right. Unless I'm watching for Formula One, which I watch. Other than that, like, I'm not watching the news. And, like, funnily enough, last night, switched the TV on for 5 minutes and the SBS was on, and changed it over to the sporting channel. But like the news came on, I'm like, those days are so long gone where watching the news and that sort of stuff for me now. And I'm just so surprised that people, with what you're saying, like people can't see, like you were saying with the Ukraine war and that, like that they can't see that it's just another massive distraction coming in the way. So
yeah, it's one thing on to the next distraction it's just like constant just reactivity to nonsense. It's like, yeah, and like we get so much just dumb shit, because like Indiana's like pretty conservative state where I'm at least. Maybe Indianapolis is like maybe a little more liberal, I guess. But like yeah, they're like this woke shit is not something like people around here are into, but it's just like the fucking Joe Biden is ruining my day mentality of these people around me. It's just like, okay. It's like, you were on a high for 4 years with Trump, and you're working at the same fucking job. The only thing different is the story like you're telling yourself about what's going on. It's like, why do you think that Joe Biden has this power over you when you're just working in this town, at this fucking building, putting this shit together, Yeah. And it's like stop plugging into that. It's like you don't need some president to inspire you. Or I don't even get what people are getting out of it. It's just like, but there's like this real hostile kind of just like blaming Biden for everybody's just problems and mental hang-ups. And it's just like, I find that almost more obnoxious than like when like the Trump era people were buzzing with. I thought Trump was funny. I liked it when Trump was president because it was just like very entertaining and funny. And like, it's like I don't worry about like some president having their finger on the button and this is gonna just ruin my day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I give a fuck about it, but like so there's a whole bunch of that going on. But then people in like gas prices, seem like they're flipping out about that and like the economy and inflation and shit. And it's just like, I'm just not even like that worried about this. It's like, okay, during COVID, it was like the same thing. Hysteria, reacting to this quote unquote economy. It's another fucking boogeyman. It's like, what do you think the economy means? It's like people, the economy is this, and it's like they personify it like it's some TV character, and it's like most businesses it's like we're running locally. It's these global fucking businesses that are like, even that kind of shit is like kind of an illusion, where it's like, having this mentality that I'm going to dominate the world by having this like global business.
Yeah.
That's like
an illusion as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And And it's like, what do you mean by the world? What is that? What is that even? You're gonna have somebody in the rainforest thinking your business is the shit? It's like these people, most people don't care about what's going on with that.
It's a mental. It's totally a mental trap people are in, right? And
oh yeah,
this is what I'm thinking. Like, is part of this whole awakening process. Like a large amount of it is waking up out of like. That's a very very good example because I met like when I was at Telstra as a team leader, like the telco. I've met two of the CEOs. Would have been some of the highest paid people in Australia, and they're just human people. They're just humans, and yet when people were talking to them, and they were talking to them, and of course you treat them with respect and be nice. I'm not saying that, just no different to anyone else, but they were just treating them like royalty, and there was this kind of, it was very much like I could see like medieval times, like a king walking in amongst the peasants. You know what I mean?
right.
And it is a power, but it's a power that's bestowed upon them by the people. Like the people are the ones that are giving them the power,
Yeah.
and that's what we need to claim back. And I think that's what a huge part of this whole thing is, because it's all trickery. Like it even comes down to my job, and I said I could talk about it for hours, but I did message Jay Chris recently because I said to him, like, has everything completely turned upside down for you, like around the CERN time? Yeah, and you're right, because this fucking thing's been turning on every 15 minutes for the last 6 months, it seems like.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're 100% right. Like, it's almost like somehow it's causing it, like we're stuck in like some sort of loop kind of thing. Or not that we haven't been in a fucking loop anyway, but yeah, it's I don't know, like, I guess for me, like, I was on a path of like being developed into a new role, and that was all going to happen, and then all of a sudden everything flipped. People flipped. We've had 2 center managers and 4 team leaders get asked to leave, due to bullying and whatever else. And that's a lot. 2 center managers and 4 team leaders. I mean, that's all of the team leaders we had and had to be replaced. And I was in this path with the new team leader, the new center manager, to like be in this position where I could, help people or get more money, like significantly more money. And I was really excited for it. And all this hard work I'd done was going to be rewarded. And then that manager, the second of the 2 center managers, basically got asked to leave. Like, she took sick leave because she knew what was coming. And when she left, there was a whole new entourage of people that came in. And all of my hard work was like, that whenever anything was brought up, it was just like shut down. It was like, this is the new era we're in. It was almost like a grand reset of things. And so I've been grappling with this horrible experience that I've had. It was almost like a what do they call it? Like, it's almost like trauma of like these people coming and going and being given an opportunity, doing really well, and then all of a sudden them saying, no, this is like, it was like they're just putting a stop to me. It's just like, you're sorry, we're not going to have you because I don't know, a variety of reasons, but it was a reset. It was a full reset, and I'm just like, and I'm still there, and I'm doing the same job I've done for like 5 years or 6 years, which is like 9 to 5, answering phone calls, talking to pissed off people, So hearing you say about, that's one thing I would love to detach from. It's not where I am. It's not just that easy to break away, and small businesses have been. All the big businesses are thriving, of course, and all the small businesses have been shut down. So it's hard, I do have an income and I can survive. So that's kind of where I've just kept going. But it's crazy town, man. It's a crazy town everywhere you go.
Yeah, it is something I'm really thankful for. Is not having to be around that kind of. I couldn't handle that kind of drama.
Yeah.
The small amount of time I did have jobs, it was just like I just wasn't really geared for that. It's like my last job. well, I worked in landscaping, which was okay, but before that, I worked like sold receipt paper, and that was just fucking just like The Office. It was just this
Yeah.
weird kind of silence that was just like people. There was like one time like some lady like I don't had like an anxiety attack or something and just like passed out on the like by her desk,
Oh my
and just
God.
and it was like there's like weird energy of like should we keep making sales calls or it was just
Uh,
yeah, it was a different type of energy, and I really am not
yeah.
geared towards that. I'm really like kind of proud with myself, like the way that ended,
Yeah.
because I was able to endure this fucking drama for weeks on it, because I knew they like wanted me to quit, but I wasn't going to quit because I knew if I quit I wouldn't get unemployment, so it's like you're going to have to fire me, and like I'm going to do everything in my power to not be incompetent and
Yeah.
have this be my fault, and like yeah, and this went on, and like
Yeah.
finally got to a point where she I ended up getting fired, and it was just like, oh, thank God this is over,
Yeah.
and like I didn't snap. There was a couple of times like I almost did because there's such like
Oh no.
like feminine
Yeah.
energy in there, I would say, that
Yeah.
like if I have like a man just fucking snap, like that kind of masculine energy would have really threw that place into a shit show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like um yeah,
Well,
and so
yeah, I got one situation where, without going into any details, but like this person has been away, and I've done everything I can to support this person, and a person that's in the support team, in the leadership team, um, basically went to the boss and said, based on one tiny little comment I made along the way, which was along the lines of, no, basically like, no, this is what we need to do. There's more to it, but we need to be able to do this particular thing. So she went to my boss and said, I don't, ineffectively, because my boss showed me the message, and she was basically suggesting, like, in an indirect, um, I guess, overt way, that I hadn't been supportive of this person, which I've just done everything I possibly can for them, right?
mm,
Gone out of my way with things that just you would just ridiculous. It was over the top to help this person, and she went and stealthed behind my back. And this is the sort of shit that's going on now that the old boss who I had, who I kind of was under her wing, just let's clean this place up, let's get it moving, and like just her big thing was no favoritism, no clicky groups, everyone's treated exactly the same. We're here to get a job done, we go home, we have fun, that's it. Whereas now it's all like clicky again and stuff, and that woman and the new boss I've got and a few others have been like, are you looking for jobs, have you have you started looking for jobs? And I'm like, you know what I mean? Just like it's gone from like being like in a position of like you're going to be the next person to do this job, rah rah rah, to them now saying with this whole new group, like, are you looking for work elsewhere, kind of thing. That just destroys you, man. Like I put so much effort into this place. I'm laughing about it now and smiling about it because it's so obvious what happens, and this world is just so obvious to me. And my reaction has just been to not snap, to do my job as good as I can, and and when times have come up to impress, I've just impressed, whatever. But yeah, now I'm like, this is not why I'm here, and not necessarily through the job, like being there and moping around or being miserable or sabotage or any of that sort of shit. Apart from the fact that it's not in my nature to do that, even though sometimes I feel like it, it's more. This has made me realize, like, I just got to do my thing, and at the end of the day, to use that phrase, like it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, you know.
mm,
Yes, I would like to be able to do my own thing and whatever else, but I mean, these people, like, I could run the show, I could run the play, I could be the director at that place, I could do that, but at what sacrifice? You know what I mean? Like, what are you
yeah.
sacrificing to get there?
Now you're
So
gonna lose a bunch of time and have to be just committed, for 12 hours a day and or
but it's
even
not even
longer.
yeah, it's not even that. It's almost like, you know, you have to, I don't know, to a large degree, I reckon some of these people, man, some of the experiences and looking in their eyes, I don't know. I don't think, you know, I'd question whether they're NPCs and they're like got demonic fucking forces behind them, but some of their behavior, and just, it just hurts, man. So it doesn't matter who I think of right now. Like some of the things that have been said, like this one dude goes, you know, I'm leading by example in front of this huge group of people, and I'm standing there looking at him like he's just like a cocksucker motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I just wanted to punch him in the face. I'm gonna say it right now. I would never do that, but I wanted to knock him to the floor and just say, yeah, there you go. I'm leading by example too. I'm leading by my left, right, fucking bang,
Right.
bang, like, you know. But just that sort of shit and like collusion and just and gossip, and it's bullshit. And for me to leave, I know that it's from the, what is the saying, from the pot to the fire, or whatever the saying is. It's kind of a little bit like that. Like I know that I can do this job that I'm in now, lay low, do a 9 to 5, be paid reasonable, survive, and enjoy life. So it's kind of that catch of like I can just ride this bad situation out. And you know, we're got a, like, whether we've got a script or not, right? It's for a reason, man. All of this is for a reason. Because if it's
Oh
not,
yeah.
I'm going to be very disappointed at the end. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, what
Oh,
the fuck?
yeah, there's definitely a reason, you know, it's figuring the reasons out, you know, and I found most of the reasons that I let go of are just like the negative, like just unconscious things I think that just make my day shittier. And I go, oh wait, why do I believe that? And it's like I just need to let that go. And if I just let that belief on this go,
Yeah.
I'm better off anyway, you know, and so I do a lot of that, you know, throughout the day. I know personally, it kind of feels like I feel like part of like my business is I'm just gonna say yes to whatever comes, you
Yeah.
know, and just go for it and do it, and even though I didn't really want to do it, just kind of look at it like, you know, God provided the customer, and like this job is going to be part of like this spiritual day, you know, and there'll be, you know, opportunities to just be present and just try to not let fear, you know, make the day shitty, you know, just try to let go of the thoughts of fear. That's basically all I've been doing lately, you know, for years, really. And, you know, it's just feeling fear and then just like facing it and just letting it go, you know, and then
Yeah.
seeing how much that just, it's weird because like so much of the stuff like I used to like desire, like stuff I wanted to see happen, or whatever, you know, you get to the spot once you just let go of a lot of like, well, why do you want that, and why do you want, you know, what are you trying to achieve by having this thing play out, you know, like money is a good example because it's like a lot of people, if they look at it, they might want it because it makes them feel free, or it makes
Yeah.
them like, feel powerful, makes them feel maybe like whatever makes you feel safe. You know, but it's like it's not really the money that makes you feel that way. It's like it's a thought that you're believing that makes you feel that way. You know,
Totally. Totally agree. The thing though, Muzz, is like I think part of the reason that I haven't got this job, I didn't get it, and I quickly, because I wasn't going to talk about it, but I will. Like, I'm happy to share it. I just didn't want to bore you to death with it. But you know, for one thing is that I've been living that live no fear, and I think part of the collusion of people around me that's been going on with my work is that they can see that I live without fear. Like everyone was wearing a mask the whole entire time except for me.
right?
Whenever I was asked if I was vaccinated, I just told them no, I'm not getting, and under no circumstances will I ever get vaccinated. Whether that was a career, what do they call it? Like, you know, a bad career move, whatever the saying is. Like, yeah, you know, like, yeah, it was. But it also pissed these people off because for them, they were seeing it as me not doing the right thing by everyone else,
Yeah.
right? And you know, the thing is like, it's like I have a choice, you know, and I can be as nice can be and help everyone and do all these things and organize these events and, share all the books I've read, The Power of Now and New Earth, all that stuff, all that shit I've shared with everyone and all that sort of stuff. I tell jokes. I'm the laugh of the party. I have fun. I say hi and goodbye to everyone. Like, I'm that person. But because I was like, no, I'm not going to be wearing a mask, and not getting vaccinated, they're the kind of things that have led to this particular thing. But to give you the piece of the puzzle that's missing, when you do an interview in government, or I'd say mostly in enterprise as well here in Australia, certainly where I live in Queensland, part of the policy is that if you make it to the interview, right, most of the time, you've cut through hundreds of thousands, hundreds, sometimes thousands of applications to get that interview. And usually, it's very rare that someone in that interview process doesn't get the job. Like, they choose one of those people. Now, the two massive things that happened out of this was one, so the interviews took place, then it was just months and months where they weren't giving the answer on who got the position, and all of a sudden my boss, the center manager, was sick and missing. Then it was announced that she's resigned and she's no longer coming back. She was the one that did the interviews, and I knew I'd got the job because I smashed it. Smashed the interview. Anyways, so the results came out. Now, one of the highest people up in the commission said, "I'm sorry, I'm the one delivering it, not Jane, as she's no longer working, or she's on leave." I think it was at the time, whatever it was. And she goes, "I'm going to let you know, sorry, you didn't get the job. However, you're on the order of merit, which means if someone leaves or whatever the case is, someone's fired, like, I don't need to reset the interview and I automatically get the position. It's called an order of merit."
Oh, there you go.
So anyway, I went back to my center and I was like, "Oh, fuck that. The reason I didn't get it is because Jane's not here. Something's happening." All this sort of stuff. And I was like, "Fuck that." And I was like, at least I'm merit listed, but I was like, "Oh, no one's going to leave." So I was really pissed off about it. Anyway, I was talking to the new boss who came along after all this happened. I said, "Oh, well, at least I'm on the order of merit." And she said, "You're not on the order of merit." And I said, "What?" I said, so the person who told me was way up in the commission. So anyway, so then that led me down the path of saying, okay, well, as part of the policy for the government, you can get feedback on your interview. So what you did well and what you didn't do well. So I went to one of the three people that did the interviews and said to her, "Fortunately, my boss is no longer here. Can you provide me just some feedback about the interview?" That's it. I don't want to know where I landed in the position or anything. I just want to know how I went, which everyone's entitled to, and everybody gets it in the government, right? If you ask for it, you'll get it. So she goes, "I'm sorry, I can't. I had to submit all of the information for the interviews to human resources, to HR." And I'm like, "You're kidding me?" And she goes, "No, unfortunately, like, I can't give you feedback," which is really, really bad. So anyway, I wrote to HR and said, "I've been told this, and I'm entitled to get the feedback, and I'm requesting that you provide the feedback." So I didn't hear anything back from HR for the place that I work. So guess what I did?
What's that?
$52.60, I submitted a right to information request.
Oh, there you go.
So I included in there, instead of just saying I want interview information about my job and how it went, I said, I also want to know why the order of merit listed changed. I went in. So I've just gone in, and then anyway, I didn't hear anything for a little while. And then last week I found out that I get the results of it's called an RTI, or right to information request. So I get that back on the 2nd of August. So it's going to be very, very interesting. But, now I'm in a position where, like, clearly something has gone on. Like, can you see? That's when I messaged Jay. I said, like, has everything in your world turned upside down? Because something clearly happened at that point. And it wasn't about me. It was about my boss that had left. I was wearing, potentially, I don't think it was about me. And it was the consequences of the fallout of that. So someone above had changed the outcome of the interview process, which I would imagine they can do because it has to be approved way up the line.
Mm.
So, so all of this stuff had happened, and then people on the floor were telling me stuff like, someone's intervened into my old boss's like stuff because they all hated her because, she wouldn't put up with their shit. Anyway, so all this crap's going on there. It's just like stuff that's just like, how you just don't even want to have to, that shouldn't be part of your space.
Yeah.
So now I'm in the position of like just shutting, I can shut that out. Like it can do it. I can still work with these people and shut it out. Because I know that I can go in there, I sit down, I make my calls, I have my lunch, end of the day, and then I'm home. You know what I mean? Like it's in and out. It's a transaction that happens, and I can do that without being in that higher position and all the bullshit. So yeah, it's been hard, man, because it's just like it's almost like someone's just said like taken the candy away. Like everyone got one, but someone's just taken it out of your hand and said like you're not having it, and we're not telling you why. It's like it's so bad. It's so fucking corrupt.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You add that on top of like all the other shit that goes on, and you kind of sit there and go, what's happening to this world? So, yeah, man. So those times that you're thinking like, oh, I don't really want to do this job today, like just remember the bullshit that I just told you then, and just go, let's go. At least I'm not there.
Yeah, I put a smile on my face and get there on time.
Yeah, let me just get that job done for you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because I like see how things kind of flow together for like I don't do any advertising or anything, so it's just like all like word of mouth, and it's weird how it just all synchronistically comes together, and it's like I get enough jobs now that are like bigger where it's like I can pay the guy that works for me, and like it's like pretty in harmony at the moment where it's like not stressed out about work or anything, and things are clicking together nice, and yeah, it's all kind of I guess ideal, but then part of me then wants to like just continue to just keep it where it's at, because I have like part of me wants to just grow it to like big enough where I could just completely walk away from it. Which is maybe where I'd like to get it, where it's just like, just get it so it's like self-sustaining without me having to have a bunch of time and attention into it. And so then I can spend more time, with doing other things, maybe doing.
You and I are on the same page. So that's why I applied for this job, Mars, right? So like it gives me that freak because I still do the same hours, but it'll get me to the point where I'll get that house and I might be able to have that family. And I might be able to do this and I might be able to do that. But you're right, because it's like you're happy doing what you're doing now and everything's working. And ideally, you could have the business run by itself. But is that just opening a whole new Pandora's box of bullshit that comes with that you're not getting now? And that's why I can see what you were saying before about me. And, so what I need to do, I'm not saying this for anyone else, but for me, is I have to have no fear and I have to not let these people affect me, and like not just like say that, but literally not have them affect me, because I can comfortably have this conversation with you now and not really get angry about it. It's kind of like I've let it go, but it's just like, this is what's happened to me in amongst all this other bullshit. And it's only some crappy little irrelevant work stuff, but it was enough for me to go, why is that person taking the candy? Why has everyone else got the candy but me, and I'm the one that's doing all the hard work? So I have to not be in fear of all of that. I'm certainly not in fear of those people, and I have to pull the juice out of life, like exactly what you're saying when you're going to work. You know what I mean? And then things will come up, man. I swear, like I'm not letting these fucking, like, not just the government.
No, I mean, you shouldn't let them like disrespect you or anything.
No, exactly. You can't disrespect me, but
it's one thing to kind of tolerate it, but it's another if it's like boundary pushing. If it's like a shit test, I mean, you gotta like check that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, my old man told me the same advice, good advice, but like, it's out of the pot and into the fire if you go somewhere else sometimes, and if they were and again, like I can go in there, do it, and leave, and not have huge amounts of problems with that. So, it's that same thing. Like if I'm going to go up and do all that other stuff and into that world of the just like bad stuff, like, but I'll get extra money, it's not worth it. So, and
Well,
then I've stood like a lot of people wouldn't have paid $50 to lodge a right to information request. You know what I mean? That's me standing up and respecting myself by saying, no, you're going to fucking tell me. And if you're not going to tell me after that right to information request, then I walk away with my head high. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
they're the ones that are the fucking dodgy cunts. I'll say the word because we're not on YouTube. Dodgy cunts they've done whatever. And their shifty kind of backdoor governmental red tape bullshit. So I can I can walk away with my head high. And I think you can only get opportunities when you're in that positive state. You know what I mean? And
Oh yeah.
not letting these people bring me down. It's almost turned me into like, I was no fear before, and now I'm like no fear with like some sort of superpower that I don't even know what it is. It's kind
Mhm.
of like, something will come up as a result of this because good prevails, man. It always
Yeah.
prevails.
Yeah. More than likely, it'll be a level up kind of vibe.
Yeah,
Either in consciousness or in like physical things.
yeah,
It's always going to lead like something better. It feels like, at least. I know that's how I experience a lot of that, where it's just like the stuff that I'm like most resistant to like letting go of, or like not wanting to deal with or whatever, when it's finally kind of just brought to time to deal with it zone. A
yeah,
lot of times it feels like way better to just let it go anyway than to just habitually having. Because what I get into is like cyclical thoughts, where it's just like they'll keep like the same ideas will keep coming back to consciousness, where it's like, oh, I don't want to do anything. And it's like, well, why? It's like, why do I just want to just be around my house or something versus go to some event? And like I have like all these the same stories of like, oh, it'll be boring. I won't be able to really talk to anybody,
yeah.
whatever. These same kind of things. It's like, why do I always just assume the worst? Why am I
But when you
just
say that, though, that's not you assuming the worst, right? That's
right?
that voice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it's like, why do I keep listening to that and
yeah,
believing it? When
yeah,
it's like
yeah, yeah,
it just as easily could be like an awesome adventure, or something like really positive will come up, or like lead to something cool, happening. It's like totally different ways to look at the same event. And it's like I'll get in these cyclical things, but I'll catch it over like mainly because it'll keep happening, like until it's like let go of.
yeah.
I used to like get really stuck in like desire, like wanting like the present moment to be different. Like, oh, if it was only this way, then it'd be a utopia and I could feel happy.
Yeah.
We're like, I'm trying to kind of just process the day a little bit better, mainly by just checking like those mental narratives that are just running, like, oh, something like the phone rings and instantly like the first thought that comes is like, oh, it's bad news, oh, it's somebody wants something from me, oh, it's whatever. And it's like, it's never, oh, this could be great news, oh, maybe someone wants to share something funny.
Yeah.
It's like, no, none of that shit. And
It's
so
like
like,
new relationships are the same, man. It's like taking, you go out with taking a chick out somewhere, and it might be just that you're going down to the shops to get dinner and you're buying food together, and that's just the best thing in the entire world. And then wind on 12 months, wind on 24 months, wind on 10 years, and going down to the shop isn't is not necessarily fun, even though it's the same person. And there's on both sides, it's like that whole like he's probably like, oh, she's going to make me pay. She's going to fucking grizzle the whole way. And the other way around is, whatever, you know, and he probably drive too fast, whatever the fucking thing's going on, you know what I mean? But it's the same thing that you're doing. Like, it's exactly the same thing. Just going to the shop and buy stuff. and it's just changing all that, isn't it? It's like,
Well, I get real like routinely, where it's just like it's almost like it feels like I'm trying to create the same day over and over again, and it's like, but without any drama. you know, and instead of like being open to like, oh, maybe today instead of just like working and doing all this bullshit, maybe I should just go fishing and do something that I actually feel like doing.
yeah,
Instead of like doing all these obligations and just like all this shit. It's just like, what am I doing all this shit for? It's just like, yes, I've always kind of like had a mentality of like, if I can, pay for my bills and stuff in the first part of the month, I get to about the middle of the month, it's like everything should be paid off. Then I have like 2 like bonus weeks of like being in the black, and then it's like, I end up spending like most of the like money every month. It's like I just start over every month,
Yeah. No, it's funny how this world works, isn't it? Like, real funny. And sometimes I think like there's, every time I've gotten ahead, something's come up, So yeah, it's just weird how all that stuff happens. Like, it just continually, I don't know, like there's some sort of force there that's pushed the monitor off of had them sitting on top of, sorry, the computer monitor that was sitting on my sound monitors. It's like some force just pushed it off and it landed on the ground and turned it on. It's got like a massive crack through this, like
nice.
digital crack. Yeah, with the red, green, and blue in the bottom left, and the top right hand side of the screen's like Windows, and it's still working. Like, the computer works fine, but it's just I don't know. These things come up, man. But I think no fear is a big one. No fear there, and making sure you're just enjoying life. If it got to a point where I was uncomfortable with things, I would leave. But well, I suppose there's the fear of like going from the melting pot to the fire. I guess that's a fear in itself. Like, changing jobs might be, maybe I just need to overcome that and just do that.
I mean, that's kind of a big ordeal. I mean, because that's a lot of stuff tied in with identity, based on kind of what you've been doing for like work.
Yeah.
So like changing that would almost feel like a death.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that, and yeah, it is, because, and there's also the ease. I get on, of course, it's the 60 bus, 60, like it's the bus that I have to catch, the 60 bus, and that takes me to work. I'm like, I'm there in 10-15 minutes. Catch the bus back, and then I'm home again within reasonable time, and I have to do huge amounts of travel. It's all very easy and very comfortable, everything. The money's like reasonably good. Could be better, but it's, enough to survive. So yeah, it's like maybe that fear of like change is something I need to deal with.
Well, I know for me, it's like doing this like handyman business, like it feels like just this gigantic train that's like moving now, that like I feel like I can't, like, how do you walk away from it? I mean, there's like so much shit going on. Like, I feel like I'm gonna say it's like a pendulum where it's like it traps you.
Yeah.
But on some level, it's like, having the phone ringing, one of my customers was also like, he's like kind of like a friend. He called me. It was like helping him for like 45 minutes over the phone, trying to dick with his computer and his. Yeah, he gets into some of the craziest little dramas because he tries to like prevent all of this shit from manifesting, and in doing so, he like convolutes these things, and it just creates all these weird little issues and stuff, and it's like like crazy he doesn't see it, but like but I'm sure I do the same shit, on just a different way. But like, and so he's calling me, asking me, help him figure out why his internet's not working and why his monitor's not, and it's like, dude,
stop fucking with the settings. Leave them on the default. Yeah.
It's like, what were you doing? And then it's like, and then it goes from like trying to get the Wi-Fi working to like him like saying how he might have done a system restore.
Right.
It's like, dude, what? Why would you go nuclear on it? It's like, It's like your internet stopped working. You do a system restore with all your shit that you got. Who knows when the last time that updated?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Where it's just like,
Oh, I know the sort of person.
yeah. Now it's like
Great
now,
people, but like just they cause their own problems. I know what you mean.
and it's never like huge problem. But it's just these little stupid little things where it's just like now you got to deal with this because you went nuclear on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I'm laughing at the situation, but like I go nuclear. I've done the same thing with my like fucking YouTube channels. I'm just going, all right, fuck that. Like, that's the end. Like that's it. But to a degree, like myself, I ended up in the point where I'm happy now. Like I feel like I've like every time I leave a platform, I'm like etching up and every time I take away from like a platform, I have more time to my like reality. Like, oh, that's right, I live in a reality. I'm not inside the screen. But yeah, I nuke so many things. I've nuked relationships, like in past girlfriends and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I knew my credit. It was like, oh, what was that shit going on with the Revelation? Remember when it was like the astrology kind of lined up for that Revelation sign? When was that?
Yeah. The
2016, 15?
13 stars on her head. She was pregnant because Jupiter was there for 9 months and the moon was at the feet.
Yeah.
Virgo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I nuked my credit because like I had these credit cards and I was just like I thought the shit would hit the fan, and it was just like, well, screw it.
Yeah.
Screw these bankers, and that was my mindset. And then it was like, oh shit, it didn't collapse.
That's so good. I know the thing though. Like there's been so many times. Part of me sometimes thinks like, that there are these like nuclear wars that happen, and it's ended, and then we've shifted again. Like I kind of feel like, because through this whole recent lot of stuff, like I'm like, maybe it could happen, like, but it's just all living in fear, isn't it? It's just we all do these things.
I mean, if you're worried about it, yeah, it's one thing. It's another thing to kind of like, I don't know, maybe test it and like see and kind of experience, what's on the other side if you can. If you can, why not kind of explore shit?
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, like, exactly. Yeah, it's a good philosophy, and just look around and whatever. Oh man, just sometimes I guess the part of like with my work kind of thing, like it's the other side of it as well. Is there's just been so much shit going on. You know what I mean? Not only at work, but all the shit outside of work. But it's the one thing that I can just kind of write out. So yeah. Oh well.
I mean, there's times where I think about, just like, there's like a factory in town, or it's like, I could work there, and I could probably make decent money, and like, because I could probably at this point get a pretty solid like maintenance job, which pays like pretty good, regardless of where you work in. It's like, yeah, but then it's like the piss test, and then it's like all the dramas and all the bullshit. It's like I forget about all that stuff. I just think of it of like, oh, I would have like no like mental like drama. It'd be like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, or whenever, clock out and just be done with it.
Yeah.
That's like the draw for me, because I get it like to the point where it's like a lifestyle thing of it, where it's just like I like deliberately like put my phone on the charger after I get home from work. I don't really fuck with my phone, even if people call. It's just like, if people like know me in person, it's like I will tell you like I only keep the phone on me till like 5, 6 o'clock. I'm not gonna be every little email. I get so many retarded just blank emails. It's like I feel like 20 minutes of my day is just clicking delete on emails. That I don't even open or read. It's like crazy. And then like and then I get texts and I get messages from all these different things, and it's like if I would dedicate like time to just all of this shit, I wouldn't have time to do anything. You know, it's insane. You know, and I tell customers too when they call me, because it's like, you know, I might be on a ladder, I might be doing something, you know, it's me answering the phone, but I could be like 15, 20 feet up in the air dicking with something. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like, you know, if you don't, you know, if I don't answer, you text me, I'll call you back when I'm like available. But like, you know, and then it's like people want me to go look at things, and they'll look at you know, little projects that they want done, and then you go shopping and get all the materials for things, and it's just like crazy. You know, the amount of like, you know,
Shit
people
to
that
do.
just, yeah, you
Yeah.
know, it's like I've been like supporting a buddy of mine. He started like a barbecue business like 4 years ago, I think. You know, now he's to the point he's got like a trailer, he's got like a setup at a parking lot. You know, shit's going good, and you know, so he's like calling me. He's like, hey, you know, you coming by for lunch? You coming by for dinner? You gotta do this and that, and then it's like on top of that, then I'm playing guitar at my church. You know, I don't
Yeah.
know if told
Nice.
you, you know, like I've been going to the same church for a while now. Like part of it, you know, was like my wife started going there, and then like I wasn't. I went on this thing with these churches, you know, I was like bouncing around to different ones, and like I had like a synchronistic experience getting baptized in a Baptist church,
I
you know,
remember
like,
that story. Yeah.
yeah, you know, and like I had bounced around to different churches, but like nobody else was like really feeling it or whatever. And so I was like, and I don't really, you know, those churches I went to, I wasn't really feeling it either. You know, a lot of churches are like real, I don't know. I guess it just depends on who you are and what your like kind of consciousness is. But like, I never really felt like there was any answers going to a church. You know, it's always just like, oh, you know, well, we're gonna pretend like this, you know, we're reading the Bible and we believe it, but when anything confronts us, we're gonna pretend like that's fairy tales, and we're gonna trust the world and modern science.
Yeah.
You
I
know what I
know.
mean?
Oh, I totally know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and then it's like, okay, so how am I supposed to stop, you know, being wicked, I guess? Oh, you need to pray about it. It's like, what does that even mean? What are you talking about? You know, it's like, are you doing that? And it's like you just tell like people aren't even doing it themselves. You
Yeah.
Because it's like when you ask their advice on how you get through something, and it's like, well, I haven't gone through anything. I'm not
Yeah.
actually It's like I'm not actually doing it. You know, I'm here, you know, and I know I'm supposed to say this, and you know,
Exactly. Yeah,
it,
that's why. That's why. Like, I've got a church. I live on Church Street, as you know. But like a beautiful church. But and this is nothing. And you just sound judgmental, but it's just the feeling that I've got. Like when I see the people in there, the people are fine. The people, the pastor or the father, or, you know, priest, whatever it is. It's not a Catholic church, I don't think, but they're like long white coats with, maybe they are Catholic, like white hats, and the kind of things that you know, the smoke and like whatever it is, like the, I don't know, smelling thing, whatever it is that I walk around with. And I'm like, it just doesn't make me feel comfortable. Like, I have my own way now of just like, you know, I'm just hand that stuff, like you've said before, like just hand that stuff over to God, or like, you know, I want to just tell me what I'm supposed to do. I'm here to, you know, just get the job done. Like basically, just tell me what you need me to do. I'm here. Um, so yeah, it's like my own way of doing that. Um, that I feel really comfortable with, you know, and I just don't. I mean, like for you, you found a good spot with the church to go play your guitar. And I've always thought that the good thing about church is the community side of people coming together. And that's something that I need more of, that I should be doing more of. Well, I feel like I should be doing more of. So that's a thing for me. And whether it's at church or doing just social gatherings or whatever. But yeah, what you were saying there before about, you know, you've got to do the church, you got to go see your mate for dinner and stuff. Like, as much as it's fun, it's just another thing on about a trillion other things that you got going on. I genuinely think that this loops back to the start of the conversation. Might be a good kind of looping spot to finish up on. Is that you said at the very beginning about intent, and I think you have to, or say you have to, like, what would be good advice for the two of us in particular me and possibly you, is you can have that intent to have time to not do any of that shit. And you have
Right.
to, it's like gym. Like I'm signed up to my gym, and because of celiac disease, like I put on weight. I put on quite a bit of weight in the last 12 months. And the times that I have gone in recent times, like as in the last 4 weeks, has been minimal, like twice or 3 times. But when I have gone, I've gone, okay, I can get back into this. I can enjoy this. I feel better for this. And I know that I can make progress with this, but I have to start. And I haven't started. So it's like the sales being down again, that whole story the spiel of I need a direction, yada, yada. Whereas I know the direction I need to go, which is making time for these things. I need to make time for gym, and there's just no excuse. Nothing can come out. I don't care if it's a meeting at work or they ask me in a bit early or whatever the fuck, and I have to get up earlier, whatever it is. I have to make that time for gym. And I think, like I don't socialize outside of work,
All
right?
right.
And I'm in a whole different state. I've been here for 5 years now. Like I just genuinely don't. Part of the fact is I think everyone's mostly NPCs. Second of all, I probably don't want to date a chick that's had the vaccine. Like,
Right.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it just
Yeah.
goes
I mean, if I was in your shoes, I wouldn't.
exactly. And like it just, there's so much shit. But I need to make the time. And you know what? The thing is that there is a girl out there that hasn't had the vaccine. That's the right age, that's funny and nice and whatever, and enjoys my company. So I just got to go find her. It's harder than probably it was 5-10 years ago. Excuse me, but I need to do it. So it's good advice. I think what you said at the start about putting intention and having that intention to not fucking do something. And when you're not doing something, part of that intent is not worrying about all the other shit as well. So you have to book time to not do something, and during that time you're not allowed to worry about the other stuff. You have
Yeah.
to not worry about it. Yeah, it's like gym. Like I know what needs to be done. I just need to do it, and I need to book the time in, and nothing stops it.
Yeah. It was like I was going to the gym. I was swimming quite a bit, but like when spring hit, my business was like boom, 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 and I got super busy with that. But I I lift things like during like the day and like very physical, doing construction things.
Yeah.
So it's like I kind of have like a mentality of like, oh, I'm picking this door up. It's like not different than if I went to the gym and I picked up a heavy weight. You know what I mean?
Sorry to interrupt real quick. I have to tell you something super quick, which is every time I used to go to the bottle shop and get a carton of beer and carry it, I was like, this is like going to gym.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap. That's it.
Yeah, it's like, well, when I started going to that church, the thing that caught my attention was the address. It was a synchronistic address. It
Yeah.
was 1515, like same number, just.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And so I kind of went into it with like an attitude of like, I'm not going to like volunteer to do anything, because that was one of the issues I got into with a church previously. Was like I got too in. I didn't even mean to, but it was like all of a sudden I got super involved in it. I'd made them a website, then I'd play guitar at that church, and like, it was like too much. And like the pastor at one point, I told him, I was like, man, I got shit going on. I'm busy. And like he's like, well, are you sure it's not the devil making you busy so you don't go to church? And it's like, dude, come on. It's like
That's rough.
that's not the situation. And like yeah, but then it was just drama and drama, and like yeah, and so going into this one, it was like, okay, I'm not gonna try to tell anybody anything. I'm just here. And I haven't really gone out of my way to really like volunteer. I didn't even mention playing guitar at the church. It got brought to me. You know what I mean? Like they just came to me and asked me. It's like, hey, do you want to start playing? And it's like, do you need a guitar player? And they're like, yeah, we need like a lead guitar player, and you can do a couple practices, and if it like is a good fit, then you can just start playing on like the church worship team or whatever. It's like,
Right.
okay, whatever. But it's like I didn't like seek it out. You know what I mean? It just like organically just kind of happened, and so I kind of like it though. I mean, the guy that runs it, he's like got a really good voice and like he's got really good timing. So it's easy kind of to play with him. Um, Yeah, and like I was like going Wednesday nights and then Sunday morning, getting up early to go. I'd get there at like 8:15, and
Yeah.
then they do like an hour practice, and then be ready to go at like 10 or whatever. And like
Yeah.
yeah, but like ever since going there, because then my dad, gets to the hospital and dies. Then it was like, then now all of a sudden there's a whole ordeal with like just like the way God's been moving through the church with this whole thing. So like my wife, she starts going there. She brings me. Next thing you know, I'm playing guitar at the church. Next thing you know, she's getting baptized at the church. Next thing my dad dies. Well, a buddy, comes to the funeral. He just got out of prison, and
Right.
like, he just gets inspired by what the pastor is saying. But then also, me and him were talking, and one of the guys that goes to the jail and like ministers to the people in jail was one of the people that ministered to him in the jail. And it
Yeah.
just happened to be the same person, at the church. So now he's at the church, and then it's just like spreading or whatever, like this kind of like this person, this person to this person type thing. And like to the point like the pastor like made a big ordeal about it and told his like higher ups in the church. And it was like, now this is like
I
big.
got this guy. I got this guy, and all of a sudden, there's all this synchronicity happening. Like, look what he said.
Yeah, it's just
And his
there's
name's
like
Michael. Like,
just all this stuff is going on. Well, but then he like got to experience like the shit going on with my dad. When he like had his miraculous like healing moment there for a couple of days. Like they thought he was gonna die. He pulls
yeah.
through, comes back to consciousness. We have like a couple good days where we could talk and everything. Then my dad dies on Christmas, so it's like the whole thing that was so spiritual and like just my dad died at 77.
Yeah.
It's just the whole thing. It was just
Yeah.
so connected and everything. It was just like, okay, obviously this is not real. Or it's like,
It can't be real. I'm with you,
it's
man.
it's
Trust me,
like,
I'm real over here. I hope you're real over there. Like,
well, it even got to the
oh,
point of being like ridiculous with these doctors, where they're like, well, the
yeah.
next fear that we have to tackle is, and it's just like, oh, the next fear we have, it's like, who are you people? It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, are you all just like shadows?
Yeah.
Are you just
I
like
know.
characters in a game? It's like the whole thing. But that's been since what, 2016? How long has that been?
So what? Since we've known each other, or like the
Yeah, since
Mandela
like
stuff?
Mandela stuff. That was 2016,
15
right?
is debatable. 16, I'd say, is probably what most people say.
So what is that? That's 4, 5, 6 years ago.
6 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that that seems like it
That's
flew
insane.
by.
So it's yeah. I mean, don't even get me onto that time thing. Like it's so insane. I mean, like like I'm at a point now with when I broke up with Aaron. That was like January 2014. It's been like it's been like 8 fucking years, Muzz. Like it's that long. Like I'm
No.
still here, and the thing is I'm happy. Like it's not like I'm in a like depressed, oh, life's over and all this stuff. Like I moved all through that, but I just so grateful to not have drama in my life. Like the
Yeah.
drama fucking part is just, it's just unbelievably bad with her. I mean, it was her way or the highway with everything. But yeah, I mean, like, just to the point of time, that's been 8 years. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Well,
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think you'll be like, definitely, if you start like working out and shit. Definitely feel a huge difference in like your state of being.
Yeah, like I know that. I know, and when I was on the treadmill, I was like, okay, this is the beginning of that really good feeling of getting better. And maybe when I'm down that end of the line, when you feel better, you look better. When you look better, you feel better, and that you're more attractive and all this stuff. But not doing it for that reason this time. Like just generally doing it as health reasons and whatever. And and then maybe finding someone. Excuse me, maybe finding someone. But
Well, I mean,
yeah,
like, being single and stuff. I mean, it's definitely a benefit to be like, you know, jacked and fucking in shape for like the quality of like female that will
yeah.
be attracted. You know what I mean? So it's like, Yeah, it's like definitely invested interest in that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it comes down to, do I just, do I keep doing what I'm doing? Do I keep letting you're going to be in early for this and that, or do I say no, or do I plan better and make that time? I think it's so
Like,
important.
how far are you from a gym?
Like
Like,
it's ridiculously close. The gym that I'm
oh,
like,
really?
it's 5 minute walk. Yeah.
Oh, that ain't bad.
So yeah, I just got to do it. Make the time and do it. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can start now. It's like,
It's only
yeah,
ever going to be now when I'm at the gym.
it's only ever be now when you're gonna feel healthy. So you can kind
Yeah,
of put that on now. Do a couple push-ups, and there you go.
that's it. All right, bro. What I'm gonna do in a second is before
Yeah,
like
click.
stay on the
Yeah,
line, because
click that button, right?
yeah. So I'm not gonna hang up or do anything. So I just wanted to end the show now, and then I'll just clip it or something. So yeah, thanks, bro, for coming on. We'll definitely catch up again, quote unquote, in the now, sometime. Hopefully, quote unquote, not too far away. Which, like, try and work all that out. It's always going to be now anyway. But yeah, man, great chatting to you again.
Yeah, like what could I download this and like put it on BitChute, or like how does that work?
1000%. So just hang in there with me now. I'll just hit stop recording.